Question 22 was a 10-mark question from Core 1 Health Priority Areas in Australia, and the question read, discuss the major determinants of Australia's 3 major cancers and why do they put some groups more at risk than the general population. If we look at the syllabus and see where that particular section comes from, it's the it comes from the section here where high levels of preventative chronic disease, injury, mental health problems, cardiovascular disease, in particular skin cancer, lung and breast are the areas we need to look there. We had to investigate, or the syllabus tells us to investigate the nature of the problem, the extent of the problem or the trends, the risks and factors of protective behaviours, the socio-cultural, socio-economic and environmental determinants, and the groups at risk. So those are the areas of the syllabus which this particular question has come from. Now looking at the key term, and in this question we're looking at discuss, identify the issues and provide points for and against. So to reference that to this particular question, again we're discussing, looking at why, the points for and against, the major determinants of the 3 major cancers, and why are some people put at more risk than others in the general population. The areas that we needed to cover in this question needed to be divided up into breast, lung and skin cancer. Some boys fell into the trap of using cancers outside of this area, but the 3 cancers that you should have discussed were breast, lung and skin, because they are the major cancers in our society, and plus that's prescribed by the Board of Studies. With regard to that, you could then look at some of the determinants of those different cancers. Setting those out, well, you had to, but you needed to set them out in a logical and clear manner. The way in which that should have been done, I felt that the best responses did it cancer by cancer. So the discussion of the determinants of each of those cancers, for example, breast cancer might have been to do with the age of the female, the time at which they have given birth, the family history would have been some of the factors there. Groups at risk, why does it put some groups more at risk? The discussion based around that the family history, again, being overweight, drinking alcohol and other lifestyle factors, those were some of the things that could have caused a higher risk there for somebody to suffer the problems of breast cancer. Lung cancer, again, a basic overview of some statistics would have been beneficial for this response. Some of the determinants, risks of smoking, family history, low socioeconomic status, those are some of the determinants of this particular condition and groups at risk. Young females, middle-aged men, those groups could have been discussed and should have been discussed in regard to lung cancer. Skin cancer, Australia has the highest incidence of skin cancer in the world. Approximately 2 in 3 Australians will be diagnosed with skin cancer before the age of 70. Some of the groups at risk include the people who are faced with occupational hazards outside, middle-aged people, fair-skinned people, those are some of the groups at risk. The determinants, again, would have been discussed in regard to that. Determinants being exposure to ultraviolet rays, for long periods of time. Not using protective measures would have been included in the discussion for this particular question. If we have a look at a sample answer here, they've mentioned in this response breast, lung and skin cancer. They've spoken about socio-economic, low socio-economic status being a determinant of all of these. So they've done it a little bit differently, but again done in a way that is clear. Breast cancer, they've looked at some groups there that have suffered from breast cancer. The answer continues on to outline again determinants and inclusive of the lung cancer and skin cancer. So all in all, reasonably well done, but the clarity of responses was required so that each of those cancers were discussed in terms of the determinants and then the groups at risk for each of those. Those students who were able to do that in an ordered fashion were able to get some good marks here.